Hello One Piece enthusiasts, I'm the One Piece nerd, and today let's talk about Luffy's Gear 5. So again, we're back with another Gear 5 video. Chapter 1070 dropped some pretty interesting fact about the Nika no Mi, or whatever you want to call it, and Vegapunk's revelation about the Devil Fruits and what Luffy did in Chapter 1070. I think it culminates up to a lot of things that I feel like I need to get on my chest. Now before we move on, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. Now that you have, let's begin. So this video has no specific purpose. I am not trying to bring up a point. All I'm trying to say is I want to talk about some things the community has sort of talked about over the last week after the chapter dropped, and what I have to say about that, and as well as things that might now sort of make sense and some things that do not make sense within the story of One Piece. So where do I start? I start with chapter 1070 because in my chapter review I almost forgot. I literally did forget to talk about the fruit because that was the most exceptional part. And Luffy getting into Gear 5 is always a banger to watch. I thought when he fought against Hito, I feel like, okay, it was goofy the first time around. It probably won't be the same the second time around, and, well, if it does come about, I'm probably not gonna like it as much. But guess what? When you can do anything you want with the Devil Fruit, especially with Oda's imagination, I feel like you can go a lot of different ways. So, with that being said, the whole fight, Luffy massacred Lucci, and it was very easy. And from this point onward, I'd like to say that, yeah, I agree with Mr. Morge that we're probably never going to see other gears ever again. Either it's going to be a base from Luffy with Haki, or we get to see Gear 5. And nothing else in between, because nothing else in between makes much of a sense. Maybe we get to see Gear 2nd with, like, Fodders, when he needs to, like, I don't know, fast punch stuff, but he's a Yonko, he's not gonna fight Fodders, he's probably gonna use Haki. Conqueror's Haki, I mean. Anyways, so Gear 5 will be a prominent thing that will be happening throughout the story, and let's talk about it. When Gorosei, I'm not gonna mention Oda, when the Gorosei said that the fruit can do anything it wants, it can make the user do whatever is his imagination. I feel as though, I initially thought it would be something like you could do anything you want with rubber, but at this point, no, I think you can do anything you want, period. Like, you're not stuck to any material, you're not stuck to any elements, you could literally do whatever you want, which is sort of insane. And this lines up well with the idea of imagination. This is why I feel Vegapunk's hypothesis or theories about Devil Fruits makes a lot of sense, because Vegapunk literally mentioned what Luffy can do. He said Devil Fruits were born from desires. Desires which manifested into Devil Fruits, and that's why we have so many. And the community, a few people have talked about it, being that Hito no Mi model Nika was the first Devil Fruit to be ever brought to mankind, and from there stemmed all the other Devil Fruits, because that is the first idea, concept, manifestation of someone imagining something, desiring something, and then it came about. When you can do everything you want, that power becomes extremely dangerous. And I feel like from there on, maybe you use lineage factors, DNA or whatever, in order to produce what is now all the other Devil Fruits in the world. And since Luffy is like that, Luffy gives freedom to people, or Luffy makes himself free. I feel like the Yami no Mi is a parallel line. It's freedom, but freedom from a different aspect. It lines up very well, but that's for a future video. I feel like we're gonna get into more Devil Fruit lores. If Vegapunk's gonna join the crew, and we're gonna have to go meet Blackbeard and fight, and the Yami no Mi is like in power, in possession of Blackbeard, I feel like we'll know a lot more about that, but that's for a future video. For this one, when Luffy turned his eyes into, like, when he turned his hair into goggles, that is something that rubber cannot do. This is where I was like firmly convinced that, okay, this is not something that you can only stick to rubber. This can do literally anything. So for rubber, I mean, first when we got to see the fruit, Luffy did things that he always used to do, or we've seen other Logia Paramecia users do, which is why it made sense for me that, okay, that's only rubber. Turning the ground into rubber, okay, that's Logia. Turning yourself into a giant, Luffy did that with Gear 3. And creating a giant fist, and then, well, making your opponent turn into rubber, that was something very different. And I've brought up this point a lot of times when I talked about Gear 5, when I said that Luffy, the Nika no Mi is a combination of everything. It's a combination of zone, mythical zone, Paramecia, Logia, everything together, and it has its own special uniqueness. Uniqueness that no other fruit has, because you've seen no other fruit turn people into elements of your fruit. Like, no Logia has been able to do that, as of what we know. But Luffy can, when he hits someone, when he hits Kaido, when he hits Lucci, that thing turns into rubber, and no other devil fruits were able to do it. The Looney Tunes effect is what I want to call it. It is also given to whoever you're fighting with, or whoever you're surrounding yourself with. It's insane. And I feel like this will bring up, like, this has to be the pinnacle of devil fruits. But yet again, Luffy doesn't know that. The only person that do know about this is the Gorosei, Shanks, maybe Shanks, and Im-sama. Other than these people, no one in this world, maybe Blackbeard, doesn't know what the Nika no Mi is capable of. And until someone tells Luffy about this ability, Luffy knows nothing. He is still a child. He is still a user of the Gum no Mi. In his mind, that's exactly what it is. And I feel like that gives Luffy, like, that handicap. Most other anime protagonists would get an insane power, they would know all about their abilities, and now they are becoming God. But Luffy, although being God, doesn't even know what his power is. Which also brings up the question as to why Shanks said that the Gomu Gomu no Mi, it was the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Because remember, Vegapunk stated in chapter, I think, 1069, that the official translation said that the Gomu Gomu no Mi doesn't exist in any iteration of any Devil Fruit Encyclopedia, nor the old, nor the new one. If you guys read the scans, it only says the new one doesn't have it, but it doesn't, like, the encyclopedia has no idea about the Gomu Gomu no Mi, and it's a fact. So it makes sense as to why the Marines didn't know about it, nor the Gorosei. It took the Gorosei quite a lot of time to pick up on this, because there are countless amounts of devil fruits. You don't expect everyone to remember everything. And okay, maybe they know about it, but maybe this is a new type. Maybe it's something born new or whatever. But my point is, I think this gives a leeway to the Gorosei as to why they didn't chase Luffy in the first place. Also gives me a reason for my hypothesis on why Blackbeard didn't go and chase Luffy's devil fruit to begin with. Because if Blackbeard knew that what the Gomu Gomu no Mi is capable of, don't you think he would just go and steal that instead of the Goro Goro no Mi? Perhaps it was hidden for a very good reason. Now, as to where Shanks figured out where the name came from, I have questions. That is something still on my mind. Why did he think about rubber, honestly? It made no sense. Like, why rubber of everything? Maybe that was the only fruit that was missing, that maybe he tried to pick something that no one in the world knew about. Or he just wanted to hide it from the world government. You see, that's a question that is yet to be answered. And lastly, my point of all of this, lastly I want to talk about, is Luffy's Gear 5. Is exactly what I said it would be. It's a powerful form, but it takes a lot out of you. Luffy can afford to do it. He was able to do it with Lucci because Lucci isn't that strong, at least is not in his department. Kaido was being nice, and that's what allowed Luffy to go into, round 2 with Gear 5. Most other opponents, like the next one coming, Kizaru, will not allow him to do it. Kizaru is way stronger than Lucci, and I suspect that Luffy is not gonna have an easy time. I feel like before we move on to Blackbeard, Luffy still needs to go on and fight a lot more fights in order for him to be using Gear 5 for a longer period of time that doesn't burn him out, and he understands more about his Silver Fruit that allows him to get over Blackbeard. That's all I have to say for this video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And until next time, peace.